Hello, Richard. It is so nice to have you on the Zoom interview series. So for the audience, this is Richard DiPilla, and he's an incredible sort of connection I've got on LinkedIn. I've been chasing him for a while for an interview, for him to share his very unique story and for us to find out what we can do to in our bit to be an ambassador in our own life and for others as well. So Richard, did you want to sort of tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we begin?
Sure, and thank you for the interview. I'm glad we finally could connect. Right now I retired from my corporate job, and I've been working with our wonderful team at Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation, and we have 18,500 plus volunteers in 215 nations and territories, and we are all about just doing good works for people in communities without any dealings with government organizations. We just take care of people that are in need, that are part of our organization. And I personally, now that I'm retired, I moved to the beach, and I live about a half hour away from my daughter, her husband, and my 3 beautiful grandchildren that I see quite often, and I'm enjoying life. Things are good.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so incredible. And how nice for you that your family is close by and you get to see your grandkids obviously quite frequently, and how blessed to be by the beach. How incredible is that?
That's it's pretty nice. I get to watch those sunrises come every morning. I could see them right out my big huge window, and I take pictures all the time, and I love doing photography now that I have all this beautiful nature around me.
Love it. And, did you want to sort of tell me a little bit of your experience with COVID-19? I know it's not the most positive thing, but it is happening in the world right now. What was your response when COVID-19 hit? And, what did you do with your organization to move with the times, with what was happening right now?
Well, fortunately, as far as the organization in its entirety, we had already been doing a lot of things online because we have to reach out to our people that are all over the world. So the effects of COVID actually had more to do with the individual chapters and the individual countries. And different countries were having a different level of COVID cases, and obviously some of the countries, particularly a couple of our European countries, our chapter in Italy, I know, had a particularly hard time, and they just had to move more to virtual things, and we just said a lot of prayers for one another, and we're making it through this. This is one of those challenges that comes along in life. I won't say they come along often, but I also firmly believe that we'll be soon out of it, as we have some very great technology going on right now, and a vaccine should be available. And this will be a great retrospective lesson for people. And I think a lot of good things will end up coming out of it, that people will be able to look back and say, if it wasn't for the fact that I was secluded in my room or had to stay at home or couldn't go to work, I would have never done interviews with people from New Zealand.
Oh, you're too kind. It's been so nice connecting with you on LinkedIn. And I have to say, I am a fan of your videos. They are absolutely incredible. You go on there and these incredible sort of things that make you smile. They make you laugh. They make you feel happy. Did you want to tell the audience more about, your LinkedIn videos? Some of them get 25 25,000 views. So you've got a lot of fans out there that are smiling and loving it just as much as I am. Did you want to
Well,
share how you sort of put these incredible videos on LinkedIn?
well, one thing I want to, I'll correct for you there. They show you the people, a certain number of people that have done a reaction. That's the first, and the others, people that comment. So it's a like or a comment, and you see 25,000. What you don't see is that my videos actually have 1, 2, or 3 million views. So I'm actually reaching, and I've had some that have reached 4 and 5 million people. So that's, they are very powerful in it. But one of the reasons I believe that I get those kinds of numbers, which is more people than the New York Times has people online, and some of the big and more people that are viewing a lot of TV stations. And I think it's because what I really try to do is to find little clips. Sometimes I'll get a video sent to me from one of our people, and I'll look through it and I'll find a little tiny 15-second clip. And I think to myself, what does that make me feel when I see that? So I'll give you one that I just put up. I just put up right before we came. I saw a video that I think had been on TikTok, and it was of this girl who had asked her husband to be in a video with her, and she was saying, well, my favorite dog is Husky, my favorite blah 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 is this, and I'm pregnant. And it took him a while, and for a second he said, well, I know that your favorite dog isn't a Husky, you're pregnant. And you could see his whole face just changed, and the emotion came out, and he started tearing up, and he grabbed her and he hugged her, and I felt so much love. I had to put that out there. I wanted other people to experience emotion. So a lot of times it's the way that I feel things. Now, I am an empath, but I try to find things that are common to a lot of people in life. And sometimes there are little life lessons that are learned through video. They may not be my exact life lesson, but they're a good life lesson for anybody. And I have a huge audience. So I have over 1 million followers. What better way for me to talk to 1 million people than to talk about something that is making people feel good? So that's the way, and you get, like anything on social media, you'll get the hater, I get messages, this isn't Facebook. What does this have to do with getting a job? And I'm there, well, not a lot, but you still find them. There's people who'll find negative in anything. That really doesn't deter me. I get thousands of messages of people who enjoy them. So that's how I choose to spend my time on social media instead of talking about negative items.
Yeah, absolutely. And what an incredible message for the audience and any, business owners that are trying to market their business or market their message. Sometimes it's about thinking about, well, what are my audience going to like? And it's incredible that you said that. So it's not like you're promoting Global Goodwill Ambassadors. People are drawn to you because obviously you were saying you're an empath. So you pick particular videos that affect you and your feelings, and there's a key message there. And how awesome is that you kind of spread it out to the world, and you've got so many thousands of views. I actually think that's really wonderful. Yeah. What a great way to get the followers, but not say, hey, I want something from you. It's like, hey, I want you to laugh. I want you to feel joyful in these challenging times that we're facing right now. Yeah.
When a lot of these messages that I get are from people that maybe coincidentally, but they say, I've had a terrible day, and I got home and I put my feet up from work, and I just was feeling down, and I went and I checked my LinkedIn, and I always like looking at your videos, and I saw that one today, and I just had to write to you and tell you that it just put the first smile that I've had in my whole day on. I can't get enough of that. If this would be true of anybody. I mean, anybody that's got a heart that knows that they're doing something that is affecting somebody like that, you know, it's soul food. And I will guarantee you there's no ego involved in it. I didn't start doing that for any other reason than I had no other purpose. I had a huge audience. With Global Goodwill Ambassadors, we're kind of on a humble side. You know, we are a 501c3, but we only became a 501c3 over the past year. And that's because certain members of our groups in certain countries really have need for things that that a little bit of money can help them. And since we don't have a building, we don't have salaries, we're all volunteers, we use my network to help get a little bit of money. And people don't realize that if you're not a big, huge organization, like some of the big name organizations, you know, and I'll say them, you know, like, I mean, this is public knowledge, you know, United Nations, they have multiple buildings, 2 large buildings. They have 44,000 salaries to pay. They have travel budgets. We don't have any of that. All of our chapters all are within each country. I call them chapters. I don't even know if that's a formal name, but that's just what I use for them. And we have some large ones. In Nigeria, we have 375 members. In Kenya, we have over 300 members. And it depends on the size of the country, but these people didn't even know each other in their own countries. Now they all know each other, they're all friends, and we are a large family. If you became a Global Goodwill Ambassador, in our rules, you have to have had 5 years of volunteer work, and you have to have present volunteer work to become a member. You can become a humanitarian supporter with a $10 donation. And what that does is shows us that you want to do it. Now, understand it, we don't have any money. When we do all specific projects, when people give, the only person that takes any money from that is the bank.
Yeah.
You know, they charge you like a fee for the money to come in, and they send you a fee to go out. So if somebody generously sends us $100, they don't realize they're feeding a village somewhere for a month because of the currency exchange. So we realized that, and we realized that our money doesn't have to be eaten up by huge expenses because we don't have any expenses.
Fantastic.
You know, I mean, very, very little. You know, we have some administrative things that they force you to do to be a 501c3, and that's good things, but there are costs associated with that. But it's so small that it ends up being like, you know, 1 or 2% of the overall thing, you know, compared to what I've heard, 40, 50, 60% administrative cost on some big organizations. Now, fortunately, they have Bill Gates giving them billions of dollars, but so, you know, I mean,
there's an idea for you though. You just never know. We could all pitch for you, Richard.
you know what? I would much rather have people send a little bit of love, knowing that it really, and the thing is, we put everything has to be put towards a specific donation that is on our website. It's a specific reason. It's people. It's real people. And if somebody wanted to put something for them, there's a very good chance that they would see either in the Ambassador or magazine or read on our website exactly the people it helped and how grateful they were. You know, we did a short, quick drive for friends of ours who had another NGO in the US who were going to go to Beirut. So when the Beirut explosion happened and there was so much going on there, we reached out to our chapter there and we said, well, we have people that are going to be coming there as soon as they can get in, and we'd like you to meet with them and everything. So we actually sent money to the other organization. They brought it over there, and they sent us back pictures of where the money of our donors, which were little $10s and $20 donations, who would actually help, the people would help. And you can see that the people were so grateful to get provisions, and they had lost everything, and they're still having trouble over there. But we've really get all the Global Goodwill Ambassadors use a we love, we care, we share. They're really passionate about being part of the family, as they call it. And anybody that gets in it, all of a sudden they're amazed at the love, where they get announced as a member, and all of a sudden 500, 600, 1,000 people want to connect to them. That's because we've built the organization with no hate, no bias, no politics, and no solicitation of one another. So what we didn't want to happen was people that were part of a group to start asking each other for money, because all the people are doing good things. So now, again, we don't restrict what anybody does on their own timeline. We just don't want it in our groups, because we have large groups on WhatsApp, LinkedIn groups, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, Global Goodwill Ambassadors is clearly an international organization. And between myself and Lisa Jones and our board of directors, we run one of the largest organizations, whether it be commercial or not, in the world. That's a lot of employees, even though they're members of the family. I would love to see every business run the same way, and they'd be successful in whatever they did, whether they were selling a product or not. We truly love each other.
Wow. That's absolutely incredible, and such a message for the audience listening. Don't think that one person can't make a massive difference. Even if you just want to donate a small amount, imagine if we all just donated a small amount. It's almost like that ripple effect. You start with, you think, oh, I'm just one person, you do one little thing, but obviously you've got such a large network, and obviously to be a ambassador, it's a feeling of connection, it's a feeling of love, and it's a feeling of pure purpose. There's a lot of people right now with anxiety, unhappiness. COVID-19 has been a really tough year, not just for New Zealand, but for all around the world. And, perhaps now is the time to really ask yourself, what is important? What is something I can do to help change the world right now? And wow, what an incredible what an incredible organization you have, Richard. And it sounds like you started off small with this one idea, and then boom, all of a sudden you're getting, wow, millions of views. That's just absolutely incredible. And it must be an amazing feeling. These people that are watching your videos, they're actually feeling happy, they're feeling joyful, and then obviously they go, hey, he keeps popping up on my LinkedIn. So they go, oh, what does he do? And then they click on your profile, and is that how you get a lot of inquiries for people that want to look at becoming a global ambassador? Is that through your LinkedIn, or did you want to sort of?
Well, obviously, we have the human chain and the human bridges that we've had. So a lot of the chapters bring in their own people because they're doing things too. There's a lot of things that go on, TV interviews that the Global Goodwill Ambassadors in different countries are doing because they do these clothing drives and help the homeless in their country. And what it does is it gives us an expansive global perspective of different issues. Here in the US, during COVID in particular, we've reached out, or actually people reached out to us now too, shelters for homeless people. And the big problem that that homeless people were having was COVID took in the cities where a lot of them were, took all the pedestrians off the streets. Well, the pedestrians were the ones that through their little $1 and $2 that they give were able to eat. So what they were finding was these shelters were finding that now they had to do outreach because a lot of these people don't want to come into a shelter on their own. They hadn't really had the need. They'd kind of found a little niche somewhere to shelter themselves. So when they reached out to us, we did a drive to help these homeless shelters. And then, you know, anybody that reaches out to us that is an exemplary organization, because we vet them very well. We deal with pet shelters, for example, for adoption. During a lot of natural disasters, a lot of pets are left, and when they're found, these shelters take them in. So what we do is we don't deal with any shelters that don't have a no euthanasia policy. We would rather give them donations to keep pets until they're adopted rather than to give money to somebody who's going to put a time limit on it and then end up you know, doing euthanasia on the animals. You know, so we try to really follow the rules that I love best, and they're the inalienable rules. You know, what I see in nature, I hope for humanity. It's such an irony from my perspective, but if you look at what nature does and how it holds each other up and how it balances each other, and you know, there's no rape in nature. There's killing in nature to survive along a certain code of balance that makes sense. But for the most part, there's a lot of help in nature, different species helping each other out. When I look at a lot of these things, I think we call ourselves civilized, but I think we have a long, long way to go. And if I have any kind of legacy, I would hope that I have done something that has moved the needle as far as an individual can move it, or at least try to. And I think sharing goodness during a time when it's so easy to be miserable about being cooped up and complaining about, you know, the awful virus that is hanging over us. I'm trying to find the good in it, and I think our people are also. And it comes through. If you do get a chance and go to our website, it's free. Our October issue, the Ambassador, will be coming out. Sign up for it. There's nothing. We do courses for free. Take a course. Some of the courses are amazing. I think I was telling you in a previous conversation, we just did a youth leadership cohort, over 100 people, mentors, mentees, you know, talking and asking questions, and to hear the responses at the end during the feedback portion from these young people who thought that they knew the track they were on, and all of a sudden had a whole different perspective after they heard what true leadership came from some of these great speakers that gave presentations. So we're trying to our organization is trying to affect anything that we can to help in the little forgotten areas that people might miss. I'll leave the big problems for the billionaires to help
Fair
with,
enough.
you know. Yeah, and we'll continue to modestly do what we do.
Yeah, and you know, something that's been on my mind this week, Richard, it's interesting. I had a conversation with a friend this week, is around human beings have forgotten that we wouldn't survive if we didn't have nature. You know, we wouldn't survive if we didn't have trees for the oxygen and, you know, the air that we breathe and everything else. So you know, we actually need to combine with nature and you know, start working on the global climate well, not crisis, but the change that's happening right now. You know, that raised a really good point. It's been on my mind this week around, yeah, we need to remember that because of nature, that's why we're here. That's why human beings exist. It's crazy.
Well, and you do make a great point, and I'll add my richism to that. I think rather than to make it a push towards a political issue and we need to do this, this, and this, people always want to try to come up with things that people need to do in order to solve the problem. Why don't we look at the basis of it? If instead we communed with nature. I mean, Walden walked the pond and understood nature and fell in love with nature and had respect for it and wrote about it. Rather than to tell people we need to have this clean air, this clean energy and everything, because there'll always be that fight of this side and that side and who's saying this and who's saying this. And truly, we don't really know because we're on this earth for a speck and we're taking a lot of educated guesses. So rather than to go through that, why not do what people should do? And that's, you have a work-life balance. Why not a work-life and outdoors balance? Spend time outside. When you take a walk, look at trees. Look at the squirrels, look at the animals. Now, somebody's probably watching this thinking, this guy is ruined. But I'm saying there's so much to be learned by nature. And if you watch it, it really does. You will be amazed. You don't even realize the things that are going on around us. And I think that that's a residual effect of a highly technical age, which is all wonderful. But because of that, how many kids don't go outside anymore because they're playing games? And, you know, how are they ever really going to appreciate it? So then they're going to become activists for nature. When they grew up, they're 22 years old and they're only outside, you know, to go to school and back. And, you know, so it's a theory, but it's very much a theory that I'm playing out, as I told you earlier, with the way that I handle promoting global goodwill ambassadors. I'm promoting being good people.
Wow. Oh, you've just moved me. You just you've just touched my heart by saying that. And what a great point. It's like if we're out in nature more, we're going to feel the energy. We're going to appreciate it more because we're going to be seeing it. And when you appreciate something, it makes you want to help it. It makes you want to change it. Whereas if we get told that we have to, no one likes being told what to do. More than ever, especially with our youth, there's different sort of humans coming in right now. So we need to adapt to the change. And what a great point, Richard. That's incredible. Yeah. Very true. So yeah, I did have a question for you. What would make a good humanitarian? Obviously, that's what you do, the Global Goodwill Ambassadors. Like, what are the traits that you look for in someone? So not necessarily their experience, but their personality traits. What would make a, you know, someone that would be good for your team?
Well, as I said, we have a criteria. The criteria gives us an idea of somebody's history. One thing that I never wanted to do, we don't give people titles. So somebody says, I would like to be a Global Goodwill Ambassador. And we say, all right, well, we don't name people. We don't name people forward for it. What we do is we tell somebody, because of what you have done, you are a Global Goodwill Ambassador. You may not realize it, but you are, and it's because of how you live your life. So what would make a good trait would be somebody, one, who's a good, kind-hearted person. And that should be reflected in how they've lived their life. So we don't care that when we say you've volunteered, you've done volunteer work, we don't care if that's for your church. We don't care what it's for. It doesn't have to be for an Amnesty International or UNICEF or some Rotary or any big group. It just means that, you know, you've gotten it. You've seen that there's a lot to be had by giving, that the rewards are there. So if you're a giving, loving person, that would make a good Global Goodwill Ambassador. And then if we put you together and you start realizing that there's so many other people and you start learning from them, there's so many residual things. We have a teachers group. I remember last year peeking in on our teachers group and seeing a teacher in the US asking an Asian teacher, because she was teaching 2nd or 3rd grade, how she felt was a good way to teach STEM to the young kids. They have their textbook for those programs, but it seems like that there's a lot of advanced teaching in certain countries for certain subjects. And just to see that, I thought to myself, well, there's 2 teachers that teach elementary school. They are continents and thousands of miles apart. And because they're Global Goodwill Ambassadors, they have an opportunity to what? To communicate with one another, to become friends, to share a little bit about how they can be better at what they do. I can't say enough about these little things. You know, like I've said, we're building human bridges before. We're doing that. I don't want to coin phrases. It's just, there's goodness begots goodness. You know, like if you share it, do good. Be a good person. You know, like if you want to write to us and tell us that you've walked past homeless people for 5 years and have extended a hand and brought food and done something to us, you know, it's not like we're going to say, oh no, you're not official, you know. And we do background checks on people, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to bring anybody into the organization that's going to not follow our code of ethics. And every GGA, Global Goodwill Ambassadors, has to sign our code of ethics, which means that they won't have any bias, they won't have any hate, and they won't have any political discussions, and that they won't solicit one another. That's the code of ethics. If they break it, they get a warning. And in some very rare cases, we've had to actually ask people to disengage, and that they were no longer members. And I mean very rare, considering the number of years. It's probably been 2 or 3. And I do believe that those have been cultural differences with the way that the 2 sexes might communicate. But, you know, you have to be aware of the times, you know, like, and, you know, so we've handled them internally, and it's all understandable. So.
Wow.
I don't even
Amazing.
know how I came up, but,
Yeah,
you know.
no, that's amazing. So what do you do in your spare time, or do you spend most of your time sort of going on LinkedIn and creating these amazing videos and doing everything that you do, connecting with people all around the world to make it a better place? Do you actually ever have days off?
No, I don't have any days off, and I really don't have any hours off. My hours are when I sleep. Even when, since I do live oceanside, I might get up and go out in the morning and spend some time on the beach. If I'm sitting out there watching the sunrise or sunset, my phone, I do everything mobile. I don't even get on a computer. I haven't been on a computer in years. I work from my mobile phone, because to me it's fast, it's quick, and I'm good at it. So I stick to it, and I do my videos on that, and I'm on LinkedIn all through mobile. I only have to go on for some archaic updates for certain things that you need the computer for. No, I've started helping out. My daughter and my son-in-law are both teachers. They're home, but they have to go up and teach now through Zoom. So I've been going since school started for the last couple of weeks, and taking care of my 3-year-old granddaughter, Valley, and we have lessons in the morning, then we have playtime, and then we have nature time. So we spend the afternoons outside talking and talking about things and being outdoors. So I practice what I preach, and it's been for a grandfather. It's a wonderful life. I actually had hoped that since I had just did retire, that I would have had a chance this year or last year, that I would have had a chance to do some traveling. Obviously, until the vaccine comes, there's not going to be any traveling. But that is on my list to do once the COVID clears up and you can do some traveling around. I'd love to go visit wonderful places like New Zealand and Australia and other places that I haven't been to. You know, I'll have an opportunity to do that in my lifetime. And it's nice to know that in every country that I go, I'll have Global Goodwill Ambassadors to visit.
Absolutely. And New Zealand is a wonderful place, and I'm sure you will get to see it. Queenstown especially is amazing. We've got some incredible nature, bush hikes, and the community of people in New Zealand, Kiwis. We're very friendly, down to earth and caring. So I think you would love New Zealand. Absolutely.
I'm sure I would. I've seen some unbelievably wonderful pictures of some of the landscape, and I've read about the people, and it's just, even your indigenous people are lovely people. What are they? Maori? Am I saying it correct?
Maoris? Maori?
Yes.
You're talking about? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
wonderful. And so we're going to wrap this interview up really soon, because I feel like we've become great friends, and I could talk to you all day about so many different topics. I do have a question for you. If you could solve one problem in the world, just one, what would it be?
You're right. It's a hard question, but the core initiative that we took on at Global Goodwill Ambassadors was something when a very wonderful and beautiful woman named Chrissy Sykes does an absolute free animated and lyrical program called My Body is My Body. And the reason she does this, and been doing it for years now, it's in 50 some countries in 19 languages. It's to teach young people about how to recognize and report and discourage child abuse. The figure that she gave me, that I've since verified, is 6 out of 10 children in the world suffer from some form of child abuse. I know there's bad things in the world, but this is a scourge. And there's a couple of them, you know, we can get into sex trafficking and stuff, but this is our children. We cannot allow 6 out of 10 children to be abused. So this program, which is absolutely free, if you wanted to show it to somebody, if your youth group wanted to show it, if you were a teacher and wanted to show it in your classroom, it has a lyrical song that kids can sing along to. And it's a little presentation that is downloaded and has animated figures, and the animated kids that are in it are actually changed to look a little bit like every country that they're in, to make the kids feel for it. But it really does teach them an important lesson. And I think it's good for the parents to know this too, because so much abuse happens either directly in the home or from somebody that knows the family. And so I'm going to go ahead and say, for the sake of that if I could change it in my lifetime to be 5 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 by helping Chrissy in this program, that's a big load and a lot of young people. And we have no understanding of how those kids, rather than being traumatized, what they'll turn into. the next Gandhi, the
Yeah.
next Mother Teresa. So I'm going to go with that one, okay?
Wow, I'm sorry I had to ask you such a difficult question, but I do try and make these interviews inspirational, impactful, and something that the audience can take away as well. For me, that's like really important. I will be posting up all the links. So, Richard, I'll have a conversation with you when this interview's over, and you can send me any links that you'd like to include when I post this incredible interview up. So, if anyone that's wanting to get involved, all the information will be in the description in this video. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it's really been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been absolutely amazing. I'm wishing you a great, productive week. You know, it sounds like you're going to be busy for a very long time, but I guess it probably doesn't feel like work anyway, because your heart and your soul, and you're so passionate about your work, it wouldn't even feel like work anyway, would it?
It's just a good life journey, and I hope
Yeah.
everybody finds something that they feel as passionate about. Thank you so much again, and I really enjoyed talking to you, and look forward to speaking to you again.
Absolutely. It's so nice connecting with you, and thank you, audience, for listening to this long interview. But I really hope that you got something out of it, and I really hope that you, if you want to get involved or you want to do any volunteer work, it's never too late to do something. One person can make a massive difference, and I think we all need to step up and start changing the world today.
Thank you.
Bye, Richard. Take
Yeah.
care.
Take care. Bye now.
Bye.